What up with you, man? Um, I would like to share a story with y'all, man. It explains one of the reasons why I am who I am when it comes to the mental. So 4 years ago, while I was at the shipyard, um, I had a concussion, on the job, and yeah, the pipe that came loose from the wrench because we was torquing up some bolts, man. And it takes at least between 4 to 6 people to torque those bolts for the crane rail. Um, and like I got hit upside my head like hard to the point where I was crying, and I don't cry for anything, man. Like speaking of it, unless I'm in pain or it's tears of happiness. You know what I mean? And going to see multiple doctors, yo. They had me on so much medication, you know, that it was to the point that if I could, it's literally could have started my own goddamn pharmacy. That's how much medication I was taking because I was pretty much doing anything to get rid of this shit. Because I was to this even to this day I still have constant migraines from that shit. It was so bad to the point that if I were sitting down and I were to sit back and and stand up, I would literally feel dizzy as shit. You know what I mean? I had I was also you know thinking of different ways on how to end people, how to take their life. And obviously I'm not gonna do that shit. But when I was speaking to my therapist, you know she wanted me to promise her to go admit myself to the hospital again. So I did, and sweet as she can be, man. He's one of the coolest, genuine fucking people I've ever met in my life, man. She passed away and I didn't even know that, man. You know what I mean? Um, I was, still am very sensitive to light, a whole sound. From before, it was unbearable. I couldn't even, be in, withstand it, but for so long. But now, I could withstand it longer than from what I used to be able to. You know what I mean? But it still lingers. Um, those intrusive thoughts I don't have anymore. But I'm deciding to tell y'all this shit, man, because it took a lot of fucking hard work within my damn self. Because, like I said, when I got hit, I literally felt like my brain juggled. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about, concussions, but I was even doing research on that shit. And there's been people out there who's been struggling with, concussions, for years. That one incident that happened, they've been dealing with that shit for years. I'm like, fuck. So Excuse me. It takes like I said from before, a lot of mental work, yo. And the thing is too, because the way how I speak now, how I present myself and when I speak to people, nobody would have fucking known what the hell what happened and what the hell happened to me. The only people who know are the people who are very close to me and they know. You know what I mean? So I had to overcome that shit because it affected my entire fucking life. I was literally in the fucking gym twice a day, at during my time, before the incident. You know what I'm saying? The sun music really didn't have, no effect on me at all whatsoever. But once that shit happened, yeah, I literally came to the point where I was not leaving the fucking house for like 1 or 2 fucking years. You know? Um, and when I spoke to my therapist the very first time, and I told her, she wanted me to admit myself to the hospital again, because of the intrusive thoughts that I was having. The very first session, um, we she gave me quite a few exercises and things to do in my homework, and she diagnosed me with going through a very deep depression. So I was going through that shit for years. Ever since that incident. That shit really took a fucking toll on me, yo. Like I said, I didn't feel like really leaving the fucking house. The only time I left the house is when I had to go to, doctor's appointments. You know, but I'm sharing this shit to y'all, man, because when it comes to dealing with, mental issues, be it man or woman, you're not the only person out there. There's quite a few people out there. I'm pretty sure there's people out there that wants to share their story, but they're scared of being judged or looked at a different way. And I could understand that. Especially if they're the type of people that are very shy. In front of the camera or in front of people. You know what I'm saying? I could understand. I could understand. I get that. But I could tell you right now, what helped me a lot was, of course, my family. You know, I wouldn't call them, close friends because they're family to me. We're all part of the fucking village. Um, Meditation. Spending time with nature. Like I needed that shit. I truly did. And it took a very fucking long time. You know? So, if you're one of those people out there who's dealing with some kind of mental issue, I don't, regardless of what it is, and you may feel like that shit is not going to stop, it will. It's, you're going to get better, trust me. Believe in yourself, yo. that's something that I had to absolutely fucking do. I had to remind myself who the fuck I was. You know what I mean? It's being shot at, in my life, and all this shit, and joining the military and all that shit. Like speaking of it, I truly had to remind myself, like, all right, I completely changed the way, um, what it's not just the way, but what I eat, what I was drinking, um, you know, I literally then there did a complete 180, 360 for that matter. This is not me asking for sympathy or anything like that. But for anybody who genuinely sent, gives a damn and tells me tells me that, I'm glad that you are getting better and better. That's I thank y'all for that. But believe me when I tell you, man, that shit took a fucking toll. When you because I'm pretty. Some of y'all maybe know what that what head injuries are like. What I mean, it's because like I said from before, I was going from working out twice a day to not working out at all to not even wanting to feel like working out at all. I literally did not want to feel that to leave the house or just chill on the front porch because you know it was bearable, for of the sun, or especially the temperature like drops outside us or something like that, yo. Yeah, I feel that shit. I even had Botox injections. I think I had between 12 and 16 of them shits. Man, let me tell you, that shit fucking hurts. All, my head and my neck. And it worked for, I can't even remember, maybe like a few hours, and then it was right back, to the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So just know that, man, this you're gonna be completely fucking fine. Like I always tell y'all, man, keep your fucking head up. And this is the one of the other reasons why I guess this could fall into place is that you don't know you don't have the slightest fucking idea what people are going through. So with that in mind, why are you, why would you judge them? You know what I mean? Some people have their way of doing things in life, like speaking of it, man. Regardless if you agree or disagree, that is their life, man. Leave them be. It's not you. But if or when that time comes and that person wants the advice and they literally want to put in the work within themselves, but they really don't know how, fucking, tell them. You know what I'm saying? Gotta tell you right now, I've been, for some people out there, they've been through so much shit in life that they do not tell anybody fucking anything. I'm one of those people. Whatever kind of pain that I went through in my life, especially the concussion was one of the examples. I didn't really tell any damn body. I'd rather deal with that shit myself. You know, but because of that, you it's an old saying, like speaking of it, I'm not as sure exactly how it goes, but it basically says If you truly want to know who is meant for you in your life or who genuinely give a damn about you, go through some tough, hard shit in your personal life. And I want you to look around and me, tell yourself, ask yourself, who the hell is around? Who is it that genuinely care? Who the hell contacted you just out of the blue? Who was the one that said, "Yo, if you need anything," and actually meant that shit? They said, "Yo, if you need anything, you fucking call me. Don't you hide that shit within yourself. You fucking call me." Who did that? Cause I could tell you right now, when I was going through this shit, very fucking few people. You know what I mean? What is was there, and they know exactly who the fuck they are. I'm not gonna, you know, say any names or anything like that, but they know exactly who the fuck they are. Anyways, man, keep your fucking head up, yo. What's meant for you is not gonna pass you by. And if you're going through this battle within yourself mentally, just know that something great is gonna come out of it. It really and truly is. And then you can share your story with other people. Much love to you, man. Take care.